I want to talk. We did a free outdoor. There was an outdoor concert series going on, and this amusement park was having a free concert each week, and they'd hire a local band to play, and they were doing between like 300 and 800 people a night, once a week, in a back parking lot. So they asked Twisted to play. I said, great, sure. 23,000 people showed up. Unsigned, it was a free concert with Twisted Sister in the summertime, 23,000, and Kiss was playing a half a house at Madison Square Garden that same night. Thank God, because if they weren't, we would have been crushed. We were banned from all the Northeastern outdoor shows for years because they had a handful of security people for the expected 500 turnout they thought they were going to get. They couldn't control 23,000 people. People just parking their cars for miles, abandoned vehicles, just to get to the concert site. So we were huge. So we were doing a show at a place called Fountain Casino in New Jersey. And I didn't find this out till years later when we toured with Metallica. And that was that Metallica opened for Twisted. That guy, Johnny Z, who wound up signing Metallica and signing Anthrax, I believe, and maybe Slayer, I'm not sure. He started Megaforce Records. You know Megaforce. And then Johnny Z, I mean, I've already said this to him. I said he was a pain in the ass and an idiot back in the day. The guy had vision. I was wrong. He was right. And I'm going to tell you how wrong I was in a second. And most of you have seen this on social media already because it was picked up by everybody. And I'm a very, very honest person. So I didn't find out that Metallica had opened one of their first ever gigs on the East Coast, opened for Twisted, until we toured with Metallica in 1984. 84 in Holland, I believe it was. Could have been some other European countries. Holland stands out to me, meeting up with those guys. I remember meeting those guys and James, everybody, and Cliff, and we were just marveling at the toilet bowls in Holland because I don't know if they're still the same, but they have a shit shelf. And the way, unlike the toilet bowls in the United States, which have a pool of water that you crap into and then you flush it, in Holland, they had a toilet bowl that had a porcelain shelf, so the shit sat on it. So when you got off, there was your work, just sitting, steaming. I remember it being cold. It was probably wintertime. It was cold enough out there. And, it was early spring, late spring. And it was, and then when you flushed the toilet, water came down the back and washed your work into the hole with the water. It was an odd system and oddly disquieting. And I just popped in my head that here's like the first Twisted Sister Metallica conversation in a hotel room. Like, what's with the toilets? Like, dude, it's insane. You we're just all talking about how, and I mean, people say that, I think Tim Allen once said that men like to take a look at the shit in the toilet to see what they made because it's the only thing we actually birth, but not so much when it's just sitting there raw in the wild, so to speak. And that's what, so I remember it's like, was talking about you take a dump and then you stand up and turn around to flush. And there it is, just sitting there, with whatever you ate the night before. Maybe there's an eyeball in it, and the shit shelf. That just popped in my head, like my first conversation with the guys. So we toured together, and this is the, and when I meet the guys, they go, "Hey, we opened for you." Like, you opened for us? Because I was aware of Metallica. Now they had, a couple albums out. Ride the Lightning was out at the time we were touring with them. And we would just release Stay Hungry. So we were just breaking through. And and I said, when did you play with us? And they said, we opened for you guys at a club in New Jersey. It was mobbed. There was like 4,000 people there. It was crazy. And I was like, dude, sorry I missed it. I was putting on my makeup. Whenever on the headline, I was always putting on my makeup. It was a 2-hour process to put on the face and put on the costume and get ready. So it was 2 hours. So I never saw the opening band. Never saw them. So I missed Metallica in a very early show, which would have been kind of cool to see. And if you look online, you'll see, Fountain Casino, Twisted Sister with Metallica, like this little, right? So now we're on the road with Metallica. And great guys. We got along great. Do I have any clear memories of anything? Just all cool people. So we're in Holland, and we start. And so Stay Hungry is just out, okay? So we release in the States. We come out here, and we're touring in Europe. Out here. We're touring in Europe. It's very early. The record hasn't broken yet. And Ride the Lightning is just out as well. So this pops in my head right now, but this leads to what I'm saying. So I was looking at both of our album covers, and our album cover says in the bottom corner, it says distributed by WEA, Warner Elektra Atlantic. That's what WEA was. That's it. And that was our distributor. We were on Atlantic Records. When I looked at Metallica's record, in the corner where it says distributor, there was a block of text. A block. And it had a different distribution for every country in the world. And this spoke to me immediately, said, wow, these guys are doing it. This was Megaforce Records. They are doing it. And you're saying, oh, I thought they were on Elektra. Elektra, not initially, and Elektra Records bought their contract. Bought from Johnny Z for gazillion dollars. That's what the Z in Johnny Z is, for a gazillion. So I'm just looking, and I'm noticing, I said, man, these guys are not, they're not going the easy route. It's country to country with these guys. They were heavy. They were heavy before other bands. Now you say Slayer was out. Yes, there was the Anthrax was out. There was definitely the big four were out there. And all those guys deserve credit. But when you were going that route, there was nothing commercially viable at that point as far as record companies were concerned. And so you had to, if you weren't willing to adapt or change, and not that Twisted changed. I'm going to just tell you, I always felt Twisted Sister was commercially viable. Even though we couldn't get a record deal, it never understood why a band whose main influences were Black Sabbath, AC/DC, Slade, and Alice Cooper, all bands with huge selling records. Slade, the Americans don't know, but one of the biggest bands in the world in the 70s, everywhere but. They wrote Come On Feel the Noise, Mama We're All Crazy Now. They were massive. They broke the Beatles records for number one hits in England. But everywhere in the world, massive band except the United States. And a lot of us, like Kiss and Cheap Trick and Twisted Sister, were influenced by Slade. Huge influence on me. That's where I got my anthems from, inspired by Slade. For number one hits in England. But everywhere in the world, massive band except the United States. And a lot of us, like Kiss and Cheap Trick and Twisted Sister, were influenced by Slade. Huge influence on me. That's where I got my anthems from, inspired by Slade.